Welcome to EasyPhysiology ResearchPro. We are a team of 2 physiologists and researchers with several years of experience in the field of human physiology, clinical research, and medical education. Our mission is to simplify complex physiological concepts and connect them to real-world clinical applications. Today, we are going to explore one of the most fundamental concepts in physiology: homeostasis, the body's incredible balancing act. Throughout this presentation, we have included knowledge check questions. Drop your answers in the comments. We will reveal the correct answers once we reach 100 likes and 10 comments. If you enjoy our content, do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to EasyPhysiology ResearchPro. Let us begin by understanding what homeostasis actually means. Homeostasis refers to the maintenance of a relatively constant internal environment. It allows our bodies to function optimally, despite fluctuations in the external environment. For instance, whether you are exposed to the freezing temperatures of a snowy winter or the heat of a desert afternoon, your body temperature, blood glucose levels, and blood pressure are tightly controlled to stay within narrow limits. This continuous dynamic adjustment is essential for the survival of cells, tissues, and ultimately the entire organism. The concept of homeostasis has a fascinating history. It was first introduced by Claude Bernard, who described the idea of the milieu intérieur, meaning the internal environment of the body must remain constant for life to be possible. Later, in the early 20th century, Walter Cannon coined the term homeostasis. In modern times, molecular biology and systems physiology have greatly expanded our understanding, revealing the complex, interconnected networks that maintain internal stability. Now, what parameters are tightly regulated by homeostasis? Your body maintains a stable temperature around 37 degrees Celsius to ensure enzymatic reactions proceed efficiently. Blood glucose levels are kept within a narrow range to provide energy for cells without causing damage. Then, your blood pressure is regulated to ensure all tissues receive adequate blood flow. Similarly, pH balance is tightly controlled around 7.4 to prevent harmful shifts in acidity or alkalinity, and osmolarity is regulated to maintain water and electrolyte balance. Each of these parameters requires constant monitoring and adjustment. To maintain homeostasis, 3 key components work together. First, a receptor detects changes in the internal or external environment. Second, a control center, usually the brain, processes the incoming information and determines the appropriate response. Finally, an effector carries out the response to correct the deviation. For example, when your body becomes too hot, thermoreceptors in the skin send signals to the hypothalamus, which then activates sweat glands to cool the body down. This system ensures a seamless flow from stimulus detection to corrective action. Now, here's your first knowledge check. In a homeostatic control system, what is the role of the effector? Is it to detect the change, integrate incoming signals, initiate a response to correct deviation, or set the reference range? I am sure you know this. Please drop your answers in the comments below. Homeostasis can be maintained by 2 major types of regulatory mechanisms. Intrinsic or local control occurs within an organ or tissue itself. For example, when skeletal muscles become active during exercise, they regulate their own blood flow by producing vasodilators that increase perfusion. On the other hand, extrinsic control involves regulation by external systems, namely the nervous and endocrine systems. For example, when blood pressure falls, baroreceptors signal the brain, which then triggers the sympathetic nervous system to increase heart rate and constrict blood vessels. Thus, intrinsic mechanisms provide fine-tuned local adjustments, while extrinsic mechanisms coordinate body-wide responses. Homeostatic systems rely on 3 types of feedback mechanisms. Negative feedback is the primary regulatory mechanism. It counteracts changes, restoring parameters to their set points. Positive feedback, although less common, amplifies changes to drive processes to completion, such as in childbirth. Feed-forward mechanisms anticipate changes before they occur, preparing the body proactively, such as when salivation starts just by smelling food. Together, these feedback systems not only maintain stability but also enable adaptation to new challenges. Let us explore an example of negative feedback. After eating a carbohydrate-rich meal, your blood glucose level rises. This increase is detected by beta cells in the pancreas, which respond by releasing insulin into the bloodstream. Insulin promotes glucose uptake by tissues, especially muscle and fat cells, reducing blood glucose levels back to normal. Once glucose levels are restored, insulin secretion declines. This elegant loop exemplifies negative feedback, correcting a deviation and maintaining stability. Here's your next knowledge check. Which hormone is primarily released in response to elevated blood glucose levels? Is it glucagon, insulin, cortisol, or adrenaline? Yes, you got it. Then comment your answer below. Now, let us consider positive feedback using childbirth as an example. When labor begins, stretching of the cervix stimulates sensory receptors, which send signals to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus instructs the posterior pituitary gland to release oxytocin. Oxytocin then stimulates stronger uterine contractions, leading to more cervical stretch, and in turn more oxytocin release. This loop intensifies until the baby is delivered, after which the stimulus for cervical stretch is removed, and the loop stops. Positive feedback is powerful and self-reinforcing but operates only under controlled circumstances, leading to a definite endpoint. Despite the body's best efforts, homeostasis can be disrupted. Common causes include infection, dehydration, injury, and psychological stress. When homeostatic balance is lost, the consequences can be severe, leading to conditions such as diabetes, where glucose regulation fails, heat stroke from failure of temperature control, shock from circulatory collapse, and acid-base disorders. Ultimately, organ dysfunction and metabolic derangements can result if corrective measures are not taken promptly. Homeostasis is not just a theoretical concept, rather, it is at the heart of clinical practice. In the intensive care unit, healthcare providers continuously monitor electrolytes, blood pressure, and organ functions to detect any signs of imbalance. During surgery, anesthesiologists maintain body temperature, oxygen levels, and hemodynamic stability. In emergency medicine, restoring blood volume, oxygen, and vital signs is critical for survival. Even in chronic disease management, maintaining blood glucose and blood pressure within target ranges is crucial. Thus, understanding homeostasis is essential for predicting, preventing, and managing disease. Here's another knowledge check. Which of the following represents a disruption in homeostasis? A blood pH of 7.4, blood pressure of 90/50 after trauma, thermoregulation via sweating, or glucose uptake after insulin release? Think carefully and post your answer in the comments. To summarize, homeostasis is a dynamic, continuous balancing act, not a static state. Negative feedback mechanisms dominate in maintaining balance. Positive feedback mechanisms are used selectively for specific physiological events. The nervous and endocrine systems work together as the primary regulators of homeostatic processes. Mastering the principles of homeostasis provides a critical foundation for understanding both normal physiology and clinical pathology. As we reflect, remember this: balance is not something you find, it is something you create. And your body creates it every moment of your life, through every breath, every heartbeat, and every biochemical reaction. Amazing, right? Thank you for exploring the concept of homeostasis with us today at EasyPhysiology and ResearchPro. We hope this session helped deepen your understanding of how our bodies maintain physiological stability. If you found this video valuable, please like the video, share it with your peers, drop your answers and thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more engaging and insightful content. Coming up next, we will dive into the physiology of cell membranes, from structure to transport, an essential concept for understanding cellular homeostasis. Stay tuned, and see you in the next session.